Can't stop replaying that painful conversation in your head? Stuck thinking about that relationship that ended, the job opportunity that slipped away, or that life-changing moment you wish you could redo? I get it, letting go feels impossible when your mind keeps dragging you back to what could have been. But today, everything changes. I am sharing a powerful framework that combines ancient Stoic wisdom with cutting-edge psychology to help you finally break free. You'll discover exactly why your brain gets stuck in these loops, and more importantly, the specific techniques to release what's holding you back. If you are ready to transform your relationship with the past and reclaim your mental freedom, stick around. This isn't just another just get over it video. These are practical science-backed strategies that actually work. Let's dive in. Act 1. Understanding why we hold on. Our brains are literally wired to hold on to things. It's a survival mechanism that's gone into overdrive in our modern world. Think about our prehistoric ancestors. Their survival depended on remembering every detail about dangers, safe spaces, and social bonds. That same neural machinery is still running in your brain today, but instead of protecting you from saber-toothed tigers, it's keeping you trapped in cycles of emotional pain. Here is what happens physiologically. Every time you replay that memory or scenario, your brain reinforces neural pathways, making the patterns stronger and harder to break. It's not just emotional, it's biochemical. Your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, creating a literal chemical addiction to the thoughts you are trying to escape. This explains why willpower alone isn't enough to break free. The attachment pattern follows a predictable sequence. First comes the trigger, maybe a song, a place, or a social media post. This activates your amygdala, the brain's emotional center, triggering a flood of emotions and physical sensations. Your heart rate increases, muscles tense, breathing changes. Then comes the mental spiral: analysis, regret, fantasy, rumination. You are not weak. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it evolved to do. Most people try forcing themselves to stop caring or suppress emotions. This is a huge mistake. Research shows this approach actually strengthens the neural pathways of attachment. It's like telling yourself, "Don't think about pink elephants." Suddenly, that's all you can think about. Your brain doesn't process negatives well. It strengthens whatever you focus on, even if you are focusing on trying to avoid it. The real problem is what psychologists call emotional fusion, where you become so entangled with thoughts that they feel like reality itself. You are not just having thoughts about the situation. You've become the thoughts. This fusion makes it impossible to gain the perspective needed for release. It's like trying to see your house clearly while pressing your face against the front door. When we resist painful emotions, we create what psychologists call a secondary pain loop. Now, we're not just suffering from the original situation, we're suffering from our resistance to it. This creates a double burden: the primary pain of the loss or disappointment, plus the secondary pain of judging ourselves for not being over it yet. It's like throwing gasoline on an emotional fire. Modern neuroscience has revealed something fascinating. Our brains don't actually distinguish well between physical and emotional pain. The same neural networks activate whether you are experiencing a broken bone or a broken heart. This explains why emotional pain can feel so intensely real, and why traditional advice like "just move on" is about as helpful as telling someone with a broken leg to just walk it off. Here is what nobody tells you about attachment. It's not actually about the external thing at all. You are not really attached to the person, situation, or outcome. You are attached to your story about it. You are attached to what it means about you, your future, your worth. This is why two people can experience the same loss, but process it completely differently. They're operating from different internal narratives. The breakthrough comes when we realize that letting go isn't about forcing change or suppressing emotions. It's about understanding and working with our psychology instead of against it. This is where ancient Stoic wisdom becomes incredibly relevant. They understood these principles thousands of years before modern psychology confirmed them. The Stoics recognized that our suffering comes not from things themselves, but from our judgments about them. When we label something as terrible or unfair, we add layers of emotional pain to the factual situation. They developed practical techniques for separating facts from interpretations that modern science has validated as highly effective. Brain imaging studies have shown that practices like mindfulness and cognitive reframing, core elements of the Stoic approach, actually change the neural pathways involved in emotional processing. Just as physical exercise reshapes your muscles, these mental practices literally reshape your brain's emotional architecture. Your attachment isn't a character flaw, it's a sign that you are human. The capacity to care deeply and form strong bonds is one of our greatest strengths. The goal isn't to become detached from everything, but to develop a healthy relationship with attachment itself. This shift in perspective is crucial for what comes next. Act 2. The Stoic Framework. The Stoics developed a practical framework for letting go that modern psychologists have validated through extensive research. The foundation is what they called the dichotomy of control, a powerful tool for cutting through mental chaos. Here is how it works. In any situation, clearly identify what's in your control and what isn't. Your thoughts and reactions? Controllable. Other people's choices? Not controllable. When caught in replay mode, immediately ask, is this within my control? If not, redirect your energy to what is. This isn't passive resignation. It's strategic focus. Modern neuroscience shows this practice literally rewires your brain, weakening attachment pathways and building new ones. Each time you consciously redirect your attention, you are creating new neural patterns that support emotional freedom. The Stoics also practiced what they called negative visualization, deliberately imagining losing what you are attached to. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But research shows this practice actually reduces anxiety by desensitizing your nervous system to loss. It's similar to exposure therapy in modern psychology. By facing our fears of loss in a controlled way, we reduce their power over us. Another powerful Stoic technique is objective description, stripping situations of emotional narrative and describing them in purely factual terms. Instead of, they betrayed me and ruined my life, say, this person made a different choice than what I wanted. Instead of, I lost everything, say, circumstances changed. This creates psychological distance without denying emotions. The framework also includes what modern psychologists call temporal distancing, viewing present struggles from a future perspective. Ask yourself, how will I view this situation in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? Research shows this simple practice reduces the intensity of emotional reactions by activating regions of the brain associated with wisdom and perspective. Physical practice was crucial to the Stoic approach. They understood the mind-body connection long before modern science confirmed it. Conscious breathing, physical exercise, and time in nature all help regulate your nervous system and make letting go easier. These activities shift your brain from fight or flight mode to rest and digest, creating the optimal state for emotional release. The Stoics emphasized regular perspective checks, zooming out to see the bigger picture. When you are caught in attachment, your focus narrows to just that thing. By consciously broadening your perspective, you reduce its emotional grip. It's like looking at Earth from space. Suddenly, those huge problems look much smaller in context. They understood that letting go is a skill that requires consistent practice. Just like building physical strength, you start small and gradually take on bigger challenges. Each small victory builds your letting go muscles and prepares you for more significant releases. This progressive approach prevents overwhelm and builds sustainable change. Social support was also key to the Stoic approach. They knew that transformation is easier with understanding companions. Modern research confirms this. Having supportive others who understand your journey significantly improves outcomes. They can offer perspective when you are stuck and celebrate your progress. The framework works because it aligns with how our brains actually function. You are not fighting against your nature. You are working with it. Each practice creates new neural pathways, gradually weakening the hold of old attachments while building psychological flexibility, the ability to adapt and respond effectively to life's changes. One of their most powerful insights was about identity. They recognized that many of our attachments are really about protecting our sense of self. When we can separate our worth from external circumstances, letting go becomes much easier. This aligns perfectly with modern acceptance and commitment therapy. This approach is sustainable because it doesn't rely on willpower or suppression. Instead, it creates lasting change by working with your brain's natural learning mechanisms. Think of it like redirecting a river rather than trying to stop it. You are working with the flow, just changing its direction. Act 3. Practical implementation. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually use these principles in your daily life. Start with what I call the morning mental inventory. Take 5 minutes each morning to identify what you are holding on to. Write it down. For each item, explicitly identify what aspects are within your control and what aren't. This sets your intention for the day and prevents unconscious rumination. Create physical anchors for letting go. Choose a specific action like dropping a pebble into water or taking a deep breath, and pair it with the mental act of releasing. This creates a powerful mind-body connection that makes the abstract process of letting go more tangible. Your brain learns to associate the physical action with emotional release. Develop metacognitive awareness, the part of you that can observe thoughts without getting caught up in them. Practice labeling thoughts as they arise. T here is a worry thought. T here is a memory thought. Here is a judgment. This creates psychological distance and reduces their emotional power over you. Think of it like watching clouds pass across the sky instead of getting caught in the storm. Use the 5 whys technique to uncover what you are really attached to. Keep asking yourself why something bothers you until you reach the core belief or fear. Often, what we think we're attached to is just a surface manifestation of a deeper concern. This insight makes letting go much easier because you are addressing the root cause. Set up regular perspective resets throughout your day. Use phone reminders if needed. When they go off, take 30 seconds to zoom out and remember the bigger picture. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? In 1 year? In 1 month? This temporal distancing helps break the spell of immediate emotional intensity. Create a personal letting go ritual. This could be as simple as writing down what you are holding on to and physically burning the paper, or as elaborate as a full meditation practice. The key is to make it concrete and repeatable. Rituals help our brains process change and create closure. Practice what I call active acceptance. This isn't passive resignation, but a conscious choice to accept reality as it is right now. Make it verbal. I accept that this happened. I accept that I can't change it. I accept that I have feelings about it. This doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It means you are stopping the energy drain of resistance. Start with tiny, low-stakes situations, like letting someone merge in traffic or accepting a minor inconvenience without resistance. These small wins build confidence for bigger challenges. Remember, every big release starts with small steps. You are building psychological muscles that will serve you in more challenging situations. Design your environment to support letting go. Clear your space of unnecessary reminders. Unfollow or mute on social media if needed. Create physical and digital environments that support your growth rather than reinforcing old patterns. Your environment shapes your thoughts more than you realize. Build a support system that understands this approach. Share these concepts with friends or family. Having others who understand and support your practice makes it much more sustainable. They can remind you of your commitment when you forget and celebrate your progress when you succeed. Track your progress in a way that works for you. Keep a simple journal of your letting go practice. Note what works and what doesn't. Celebrate small victories. Be patient with yourself when you struggle. Each attempt at letting go, even if it feels unsuccessful, is strengthening your capacity. Make this practice your own. Adapt these techniques to fit your life and personality. The best framework is the one you'll actually use consistently. Trust your intuition about what works for you while staying true to the core principles. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. The ability to let go isn't just a nice-to-have skill. It's essential for thriving in an ever-changing world. By combining ancient Stoic wisdom with modern psychological insights, you now have a practical framework for breaking free from what's holding you back. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending not to care. It's about developing a healthier relationship with attachment itself. Remember, letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you care about yourself enough to create space for what's next. You are not erasing the past. You are choosing to live fully in the present. Every time you practice letting go, you are building greater emotional resilience and psychological flexibility. This isn't just theory. These techniques have been proven effective both by centuries of philosophical practice and by modern scientific research. They work because they align with how our brains actually function. You are not fighting against your nature. You are working with it to create lasting change. The journey of letting go is ongoing. There will always be new attachments, new challenges, new situations that test us. But with these tools, you are equipped to handle whatever comes your way with greater ease and resilience. Each practice builds upon the last, creating a foundation of emotional freedom. Take action now. Choose one technique from what we've covered and commit to practicing it for the next week. Notice what changes. Build from there. Remember, small, consistent steps lead to profound transformation. You don't have to do everything at once. Just start with what resonates most. Let's wrap up with this powerful truth. Letting go isn't about losing something. It's about making space for what's next. When you release what's no longer serving you, you create room for new growth, new opportunities, and new peace. Your past experiences have shaped you, but they don't have to define your future. If this video helped you, make sure to like and subscribe for more practical wisdom on personal growth. Share it with someone who might need it right now. Drop a comment below letting me know which technique you are going to try first. I read and respond to every comment. And remember, you've got this. Your journey to emotional freedom starts now.